As some of you will know, the new Tesla Cybertruck recently started coming off of the production line, and there was a picture that Elon Musk posted of the very first production run Cybertruck that you will actually be able to buy. And it was really cool. It's with all the team around it. They've just made it, taken a picture, posted it to Twitter. It has taken ages to get to this point of actually making it. And of course, things like COVID got in the way, amongst a couple of other things. The Cybertruck was announced in 2019 in November, I believe it was, right at the end. And they've so far had 1.5 million orders for one. People never even seen one. They've paid some money and ordered one. 1.5 million people, that's crazy. In the US, I think it was $100 to order one. Again, I've no idea why, but they stopped taking orders for this in Europe. The Cybertruck was announced in 2019, I think it was in November, and they've so far had 1.5 million orders for one. And in the US, it's $100 still to order one, and they've stopped taking orders in Europe for it. I've no idea why. If you know, put it in the comments below. I'll be very interested to know. It's a pretty cool looking thing, and the more I read about it and the more I look at it, the more I think, oh, I like it. It's a nice thing. It starts at 39,000 US dollars too, which is pretty reasonable, I think, for such a useful. I don't know if people talk about it as a useful thing, but it is a very useful truck, and it's an iconic truck. And the specs are pretty awesome, in my opinion, which we will cover that in a minute. Think of the Cybertruck basically as a ute, or a truck if you're in the US. Don't think of it as something weird, or like a moon buggy, or something that is in its own class. If you look at it and you squint, it's a ute. It is just an ordinary ute. It just looked really, really cool. Big tyres and a tray at the back. There are lights on it. Of course, they're a bit hidden, but it's a ute. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Ben Alexander, and I'm here in Brisbane, Australia. Hopefully, at the end of the year, I'll actually be going around the world a bit to Norway, Sweden, the UK, maybe the Netherlands, and some other places. So I'm really excited about that. I haven't been away for a couple of years just because of the whole COVID thing. So I'll try to show you some pretty awesome things as I go around when I'm there. Some of you might actually know that I used to live in Scandinavia. I talk about the latest EV news around the world, and I make videos every single day. So please stick around until the end and then let me know your thoughts on it in the comments. Let's talk about spec then. 250 miles to 500 miles, so 400 to 800 kilometer range, depending on which model that you buy, and an estimated 0 to 60 miles per hour, or 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, in 2.9 or 6.5 seconds, depending on the model. All of which seems awesome to me, really, really awesome. And like a regular car, there is a fair bit of space for the batteries to go in it. So that's not an issue so much as just making the cost of it viable. They are hoping to make 375,000 of them every single year, so a fair few. And they currently have 1.5 million orders to fulfill. So you probably won't get one soon, I don't think, if you haven't ordered one. And I'm sure some of them will be bought and sold for more on the used market than they cost the original owner who placed the order with Tesla. Nobody actually knows the battery size. Tesla haven't said, but Tesla's estimates typically on range aren't terrible. So you can kind of go with whatever they say to a point and just imagine you have to drive slowly to get what they say. That's about right, I think. It's clearly made to be a ute type thing or a truck type thing. So I'm not sure exactly why they wanted to build it. Elon did say that he thought of it. He just thought it was a really, really cool thing and he just loves it. But it may flop, he said, because it's just so different. Who knows? He loves it. They're going to do it. That's actually what he said. I imagine it will do really well. However, Ford F-150 Lightning has done terribly. I'll link a video of mine at the end and also put it in the description about just how bad that has gone for Ford. It's mind-bogglingly bad. But it is clear that it has 1.5 million orders. That's pretty awesome. But I'm imagining that a lot will be cancelled because they only asked for $100 deposit, which is quite insignificant. And a few years have passed, so some people will have moved on from the excitement, I reckon. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What do you think? It will cost between 39 and 70,000 US dollars, but the prices are rumoured to rise a few thousand in the next year or so. So it may not actually be the case that you can get one for $40,000, which I think is really like a really nice price, I think, for that. What is really surprising is how the flagship model can tow £14,000. That's 6.4 tonne if you're in the UK. I don't understand how that's possible, to be honest. That is pretty amazing. And I suspect the motors will definitely need to be cooled to tow that sort of weight. And I suppose as well, the battery, because putting out the power that is required to do that sort of thing, is pretty intense. The new BYD Ute is coming over the next 10 months or so to Australia. I'll overlay some footage of that for you. We don't actually have a date though, and I think it looks pretty much the same as a Ford Ranger than anything. It's a great looking thing, but we haven't actually seen formal pictures of it in its paint looking all shiny. Utes are pretty useful things, I think, for workers or for going to the bush, or if you go camping, or even to just chuck stuff in the back of, and drive around if you're building something. They're pretty cool. I personally don't think that they should be daily drivers because none of them drive very well, I don't think. Like, say, around roundabouts, they all feel somewhat like boats, in my opinion. But I understand that people don't always want a small car like I prefer. But nevertheless, I'm sure it drives all right. What do you all think to the new Cybertruck? Let me know in the comments what you all think. Good or bad, doesn't really matter. And let me know if you've ordered one. Have you heard at all when you're going to take delivery? Have they messaged you anything at all? I'm pretty keen to know. Put it in the comments for me. Thank you very much to the people that have joined on Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon or YouTube memberships. Links to these will be in the description below. And the cheapest and easiest way to help is simply by pressing the like button. And I think Patreon and YouTube memberships about $3 as well. So remember to subscribe for my daily videos about EV news from around the world.